And now seated next to me is our next talent scout, Miss Sarah Sykes. Hello, Miss Sykes.
Hello.
Will you tell us a little about yourself, please?
Well, I'm a commercial artist.
A commercial artist, huh? How long? 13 weeks?
Well, for quite a while. I was in the service, though, during the war.
What branch?
I was a WAC.
Where were you stationed?
Oh, lots of places. I was at Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, Fort Dix, Fort Myer. That's near Washington.
Oh, yes, I know. I got a farm down near there. What about this talent you brought us tonight?
It's a girl named Virginia Richmond, who comes from, of all places, Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, bless my soul. Small world, yes.
We were in the service together.
Uh-huh.
In the service, Virginia did a lot of entertaining in hospital wards and at dances. And she also had an act called the Hungry Five, which toured the 4th Service Command.
The Hungry Five, huh? The other 4 could easily have been relatives of mine. Tell me, what instrument does Virginia play?
The violin and French horn.
Both at the same time?
No, but she does do something while she's playing, something that makes her act different. And I think she's wonderful.
Fine. Let's find out about it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Virginia Richmond.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you'll string along with me, I should like to tell you how practice has put me where I am today on Arthur Godfrey's program. It all started many years ago when I was a little girl, and Mother called Sister and me in, and she says, "Come here, children. It's time we thought about your future." Well, Mother looked at my sister a long time, and she said, "Oh, you're such a pretty little girl. I don't have to worry about you." Then Mother looked at me. Ah! "Virginia, I think you'd better learn to support yourself." So Mother got me a little fiddle, and I started in. "No, I can't come out to play with you. I gotta play a fiddle." But at night, while the other children were sleeping, I was still fiddling around. I fiddled, and I fiddled, and I fiddled, and then when I was 16, I was discovered. Ooh, and did my pop give me heck? Well, then my teacher said to me before going into a nervous breakdown, he says, "Virginia, I don't care where, just go." So here I am. And now, if I may, I should like to present a very beautiful violin concerto, adapted from a fugue in B minor, which in turn was stolen from Opus 3.2 by Rimsky-Get-Your-Courses-Off. The selection is popularly known as Over and Over in 4 movements. Now, this main theme of the first movement. As the second movement begins, the heroine is dashing through the storm, helter-skelter, looking for shelter, but she can't find any shelter, no reservation. Then the clarinets pick up the theme, and the second violinist picks up the heroine. This goes on for... You'll have to be quicker than that. This goes on for 12 bars. At the 13th bar, they're all thrown out. Which brings us back to the first movement. As the third movement opens, the piccolos drop out. Now, you can avoid having your piccolos drop out by seeing a dentist twice a year. Then the brasses predominate until the oboes make their entrance, each reading a copy of the Oboe News. In comes the cello with 6 delicious favors, which brings us back to the first movement. In the fourth movement, and this is really the best movement, we find a heroine crossing the desert. We find a heroine crossing the desert while the second violinist is double-crossing the heroine. Her father's first in the chase with 2 camels, riding one, smoking the other. The drums thunder along in hot pursuit. Somebody wake up that drummer. The drums thunder along in hot pursuit. Thank you. The violins slide into a glissando. The saxes slide into a cadenza. The trombone slides into third space. Everything depends on the umpire. The conductor. conductor frantically waves his baton. He urges them on. His men respond, and as they reach the dramatic climax, they blend into one harmonious whole, pulling the heroine in after them. Which brings us back to the first movement.
Virginia Richmond.